So the bromance is officially over. The bromance between the two fraudsters has come to an end. And what are the major takeaways from this? What are the main things that we can realize from all this debacle and this fallout and this divorce between the two billionaire fraudsters? Well, first of all, Elon comes out and says that he hates the big, beautiful bill, right? He hates the beautiful bill. He says that it's going to add so much to the deficit. It's going to, cause a catastrophe for the economy, which he's actually right, but for the wrong reasons. Because deep down, he really wants more for himself. And then Trump comes out with the response saying that, hey, the reason you hate this bill is because I'm decommissioning all the EV contracts. So all the electrical vehicle contracts for his company, Trump's pretty much taking those away. He's saying that that's actually going to be adding to the deficit. It's going to be a major loss for the economy. The thing that I need to realize from this is that these guys are both dishonest cretins, and they don't care about doing any public good. Their behavior is the epitome of dishonesty, fraud, and corruption. These are two ultra corrupt individuals who have done so much damage to the world and to the United States reputation and to the middle class, to the working class, to the poor and most vulnerable people in society. Don't forget, Elon's not some hero. Before this whole thing, before he came out saying that, oh, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files and all this stuff, accusing him of all this, which definitely, if you know the history of Donald Trump and Epstein, they're besties for like about 10 years. They're best friends for 10 years. You see videos of them hanging out and shit, and Trump is like, oh yeah, I like Epstein. Epstein likes him on the young side, So there's obviously some truth to that. However, what you need to realize is this is all for Elon's personal benefit. He's not some hero. Don't forget, this is the guy that cut pediatric cancer research. He cut Meals on Wheels. He dismantled the U.S. aid program, which has been reported to kill, about 300,000 people around the world now. The most vulnerable and the poorest sector of society of the world are suffering from these cuts. Imagine the world's richest man causing mass disparament and destruction to the lives of the poorest people in the world. So that's what Elon Musk is. That's what he represents. He wants government to be very small for him. But when it comes to, getting help from the government, he wants the government to be very big. So when it comes to helping people and doing social programs, he wants government to be as small as possible, if not disappear entirely. When it comes to suppressing people's rights, surveilling them, taking away their benefits, he wants government to be extremely big for him. So fraud, dishonesty, and opportunism. That is really the core of the story that you need to understand from this. The reason why these guys are turning on each other is because now they're not benefiting each other. So it all started when Trump's bill came out and Elon hated it. He called it an abomination, but mostly because it affects him. He doesn't care about the American people. And Trump comes out and says, oh, the only reason you hate it is because I'm taking away your electric vehicle contracts. Okay, and then Elon comes out saying that, you're in the Epstein files. So let's get this straight. If they were on best terms still, if they're best buddies, none of this would have come out, right? Elon would not have said, oh, this is going to be a disaster for the economy, because it would have benefited him, the bill, if it actually went his way. And Trump, would have never come out if he was on good terms with Elon and said, oh, these electric vehicle contracts and the amount of money we're giving you, you welfare queen, we're giving you $8 million a day. He would never said that. So the so-called truth only comes out when they're being personally affected. The Epstein files, Elon, I wonder, you've known about this probably for years, but you weren't willing to divulge this information. You're not willing to give this information out if you were besties with Trump still. So think about that, right? The truth never comes out with these fraudsters when they're actually getting along with each other. That's why the entire Trump administration, they're standing up for Trump because they have a lot to benefit from this. They don't care about the American people. Cruelty is the name of the game. Cruelty is the agenda with this administration, with this regime. It's not an administration, it's a criminal regime. So cruelty is the goal, to do as much damage as possible, because you have to realize also at a systemic level, as a systems thinker, you got to realize the system is falling apart, guys. Mass wealth inequality, the highest it's ever been in global history. Environmental destruction, climate change on the horizon, climate catastrophe on the horizon, wars around every corner of the world, destabilization, social unrest. The system is falling apart. It's coming apart at the seams. It's falling apart. And the way they can maintain power is to clamp down harder, take away our rights, expand the surveillance state, as with Palantir, as we can see, with Trump's agenda. He's given it from, he's corroborating with Palantir, which is Peter Thiel's AI technology firm, which is taking all of our information and giving it to the government for future use, for whatever it is, surveillance, imprisonment, whatever, deportation. And the core of the message I want to give out to you guys with this channel is that with everything you see, everything you see that's negative about capitalism, all the stories coming out, all the scandals with this regime, you have to understand the central issue is the toxic value system of market capitalism. Because, as I always say, in order to be like a Trump or an Elon Musk, to be successful, to be ultra wealthy in the system, you have to be ultra shameless, dishonest, and exploitative. You have to be shameless, dishonest, and exploitative in order to be successful in this system. Imagine living in a world where honesty and integrity and doing the right thing and, being truthful to others was encouraged. Imagine that. Imagine a world where being honest was a value ethic that was, epitomized by our society and our structural economy. Imagine that. We don't have that kind of world because, as Jacques Fresco told me many years ago, which I'm sure you've seen in some videos, when you buy a cereal box, right? You buy a cereal box, the box is like this big, and then when you open it up, the cereal is like this big, right? It's this high. What is that? That is dishonesty. That is a form of dishonesty. That's how they make their profits. When you buy this iPhone, this phone that I'm using right now, there's built-in mechanisms in the phone that have it break down over time. They have to go there and buy it again and repurchase. That is another form of dishonesty and fraud, planned obsolescence. When you engage in exploitative, dishonest behaviors, that is actually very, very beneficial to the mindset of business, because business is an elitist, detached perspective that does not care about environmental sustainability or social good. It only cares about the bottom line, which is profits. That is why Trump, being a billionaire businessman, it's only right for him to be the head of the capitalist enterprise, the corporation known as the United States of America. That is only right. It's fitting for him and his billionaire buddies to run the economy. And this is where we're at right now. That's why really we are the death throes of capitalism. We are in the end game. We are in the end stage of capitalism with these guys in power. I mean, that's why we have advertising. That's why we have advertising. Advertising, its core central principle is to lie to you and manipulate you to want to buy their product versus another corporation's product. Without advertising, without this constant manipulative, dishonest algorithm of constantly feeding you lies, the entire economy would collapse. Just think about that. The fact that without advertising, the economy would collapse, that should tell you everything you need to know about this economy. And the people who are most successful in the destructive, unsustainable economy like capitalism are the most failed human beings. They're not epitomes of success, okay? All right, they're the pinnacle of human failure. Going back to our ancestors, going back to the hunter-gatherer ancestors of thousands of years ago, we lived 95% of our human history. We lived in hunter-gatherer tribes, which there was true egalitarianism. There was massive inequality. There wasn't inequality like we see today. And it was an inverted hierarchy, whereas the people at the bottom of the pyramid, the least was expected of them. It wasn't like a corporation we see today, where like in the corporations of today, the people at the bottom of the pyramid, of the corporate pyramid, they have to do the most work. If they lie even a little bit, if they engage in any dishonest behavior, they're punished the most. But the people at the top of the pyramid, the CEOs, the top of the corporation, those people benefit the most from the exploitation of the working class, yet they are engaging in the most fraud, most dishonest, most exploitative behaviors, and they get rewarded for it. Our ancestors behaved completely differently. They had what's called counter-dominant strategies, where if anybody tried to get more for themselves or engage in dishonest behavior, dishonesty was very much vilified and discouraged. It was shamed upon. So if anybody tried to get too much power, to exploit other people, or hoard too much resources for himself, they were shamed and they were taught a lesson by the tribe. It was very much discouraged. Pretty much the opposite of what we have today. Whereas the more you lie, the more you destroy people's lives. I mean, like what did somebody say? Like this famous quote: "You kill one person, it's considered a tragedy. When you kill 1 million people, it's considered a statistic. So if you steal $1, you steal $10, that's called theft. But if you steal billions of dollars, that's called business success. You know, this is the core of our issue, guys. So the point of this video is not to have us blame Trump. We don't want to demonize just the billionaire class. We have to look honestly at the core mechanisms, the societal mechanisms that actually drive this behavior forward. We're going to look at the value system and the structural mechanics of a system that basically takes more money from the poor and gives more of the resources and the wealth to the 1%. And that is why we have to point it out, that the Trump presidency is the ultimate example of why capitalism is a failed system, because you have the most degenerate, most fraudulent, most dishonest person. Trump, is engaged in 30-something thousand lies his first term. And this term is, supposed to pretty much trump that, pun intended, I guess. So that's what we have to take away, guys. And on a personal level, I would say my solution in this video, I want to talk about some solutions in every video a little bit here and there. When it comes to our value system, honesty is so important, guys. having what's called congruency. Congruency, when you're congruent with your inner feelings and your outer behavior are in one line, when they're synced up together, you are really living as a human, as a true human being with dignity and principles. So try to be honest with the world around you. Try to engage in honesty. I think it's so important to be honest with the world around us and engage in dignified behavior. The more they engage in degeneracy, the more we have to hold ourselves with dignity. This is the time now to create feedback mechanisms that are diametrical opposites of market capitalism. Otherwise, I really fear the future. We're really living in dark times with all the chaos going on in LA. If you guys noticed the Trump calling in the National Guard, there's chaos going on, man. This is a very cruel administration. These guys are mean, disgusting people, and they want to hurt as many people as possible. They want to scapegoat the poor. They want to scapegoat trans people, immigrants, and they blame things on terrorism, when in reality, the biggest criminals, the biggest terrorists are the billionaire class who are destroying this country and destroying the world. We have to stand strong, stand with courage, dignity, and decency. You can feel within you like that when you're engaging in something that helps other people. We don't expect anything in return. We expect nothing to be given to you in return, but you're trying to help other people without expecting a return on your investment, so-called, That is when you're really engaging in what it means to be a human being. We are social primates. We are not anti-social primates. The only reason we're here at this point of our evolution is because we cooperated and shared with each other. Pretty much, like I said, the exact opposite values that are promoted by capitalism. Capitalism encourages dishonesty. Capitalism encourages exploitative behavior. And so we have to engage with our fellow brothers and sisters. We have to show them love. We have to engage with compassion and bring people together. We have to, instead of finding things to differentiate and separate ourselves from each other, we have to find things that bring us into commonality. So whether you're a communist, socialist, anarchist, systems thinker, a resource-based economist, we have to unify at this point. Guys, I've realized that we have to unify. Put aside our differences. The main thing that we agree on as activists is that things are wrong and they have to change. Those are the main points for this video. I'm out of the studio right now. That's why I record videos like this out in the open now. And so, yeah, that's what I'll leave on with this message, with this video. In order to change things, we can't just complain about things. We have to advocate for a new system that makes the existing obsolete power structure, make it outdated and obsolete. All right, guys. Peace out, keep fighting, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.